Hi, I'm Dr. Lucy Meyer from Third Coast Foot and Ankle, and today we're going to discuss the best shoe for plantar fasciitis. Now, heel pain is something that many of us deal with, and it can be very aggravating, and all we want to do is seek comfort. Now, wearing an appropriate shoe is vital to the process of getting rid of this pain. So let's talk a little bit about what we're looking for in those shoes that we're putting on our feet. Now, the first thing is I'm going to always recommend a good athletic shoe, right? So athletic shoes provide the most support, but there's good athletic shoes and there's bad athletic shoes. So a few things for you to focus on. First is you do want them to have some cushion to them. So anything that's really fat or really thin on the bottom isn't going to provide you that shock absorption, which is really what your plantar fascia is craving, because right now it is responsible for every single step that you take down and it's absorbing all that shock. So if our shoe can take some of that shock away from it, it's going to give it the rest it's craving. Now, the other thing to think about is the stiffness of the shoe. Now, we want something that is going to assist our movement. That means we actually do want the shoe to be stiff, and that way it kind of rocks and moves our foot for us without us having to put a whole bunch of stress or push off through all of those ligaments that are injured. So you'll see in this shoe, for example, it bends, but it really only bends at the toe. That's the goal. It really shouldn't be bending in the arch area. Now, the last thing, which is oftentimes overlooked, is the back. Now, like I said, an athletic shoe is something that's going to be coming all the way around, something that's not backless. This is important because it gives your foot a lot of stability and preventing some of that abnormal motion from side to side, like that pronation or supination, because this acts like a strut around your heel to kind of hold it in place. So you want there to be a back, but you also want that back to be nice and stiff. So if I squeeze the back, it's not completely collapsing. Now, the last thing I'm going to point out is what we call the pitch or the heel drop of the shoe. When our plantar fascia is injured, our calf muscle is also typically very tight, adding to the complex and stress on that ligament. So it's best to actually wear a shoe that has a little elevation into the heel. So if you were wearing a sandal, for example, I would recommend wearing something that has a little bit of a wedge to it. With athletic shoes, the same thing counts. Now, there's a lot of athletic shoes out there that now have zero pitch or zero heel drop, which means that the front of the foot and the back of the foot are sitting at the same plane. We actually want that a little bit elevated. So I would say the lowest you should go is 5 millimeters, but if you can get yourself into something that's 10 or 12, which is a very traditional athletic shoe, that's even better and you're going to feel the relief. Now, shoes can be extremely supportive, but sometimes that is not enough, and we need to use some additional arch support. Now, at Third Coast Foot and Ankle, we use a lot of custom orthotics, and there's actually a plethora of different ways to build orthotics with different materials. So depending on you and your lifestyle and your shoe gear, we can make a lot of different modifications to this. This is an example of our 3D printed orthotic. So there's a piece underneath here. We use like a computer rendering of how you're walking and standing to figure out what type of support that you need. And then a 3D printer actually helps us design and print this out specific for you. There are other materials that we can use that are plastics being used from a 3D printer, but actually like corks or even different types of plastic. So if you've ever used a custom orthotic, you'd be amazed at how supportive and how much relief it can give you just in everyday activity. But also, if you have used an orthotic before, you should also make sure that you haven't overused them, because there is a lifespan on that. Just like any material, just like a shoe, they can wear out, wear down, and your body changes, and you may need something different. So I hope this helps you for your next shoe shopping trip if you're dealing with heel pain. But if you have more questions, please reach out to us. And also, if you found this video helpful, I would love if you liked it and shared it with your friends, because that helps us out tremendously. Now, I hope you are getting over your heel pain, but if you're not, we're happy to help you through that journey.